What's up, guys? Subs here, back for another VOD review. Today we got something really cool. So I VOD reviewed the past couple of days the NA Tacticians Trials, the America's Tacticians Trials, and I thought, you know what? Tacticians Trials happened in APAC as well. It happened in EMEA as well. Let's VOD review APAC because we haven't done APAC in a while. You know, we do YBY1 sometimes, we do titles sometimes, but you know, I'm not doing VOD reviews of many other APAC players, and there are a lot of fantastic players in APAC. It's one of the regions that I talk up the most. And then I was immediately hit with why I don't VOD review APAC as much, because there is a player who played in the APAC Tacticians Trials that I 1,000,000,000% want to VOD review. This player right here, who goes by CantWithoutYou, I guess is the Englishization of their name. They were 21st overall at the Vegas Open, so very solid, almost final lobby, and then have done well in some just kind of like other APAC Tacticians cups and things like that. And they just had a disgustingly good weekend. 41 points on day one, second overall, and then 43 points on day two, first overall. So 84 points on the weekend. That's better than Rainplosion's weekend if you look at their scores. Like, my God. 1-2-1. 2-2-2, and then day two their only bot 4 is a fifth, and then 1-1-1-2-1 is just absolutely insane. I don't know how you score 84 points across an entire weekend. But we can't VOD review them because, as far as I understand it, they didn't stream. We do, however, have the next best thing, which is another player who did really well, Riri, TFT, who 68 points across the weekend, another fantastic performance. Very strong Japanese player, also played in the trials, but Riri actually decided to stream their POV, so we can watch Riri, their POV, and I found a game where Riri and CantWithoutYou were in the same lobby. CantWithoutYou is the person with this chibi Oriana, so we can keep an eye on Riri, and we can keep an eye on CantWithoutYou. Riri also played a line that I'm really interested in just diving deeper into. It's a line that's become more popular this patch, and I think it's I don't know, it's a line that people have made very controversial claims about, so I'm interested to see how Riri plays around it. So yeah, we start off here with the Nami and just everything else. End up selling the Cassiopeia just because she's not the best as an opener. A lot of Sorks actually to start off this game. We have the Lux, we have the Nami, we also have the Valdemir, so we can be pretty hyped around that. We also have some of these Conqueror units, so yeah, I mean, overall pretty good. I'm also right now going to pivot over into a download of this because Twitch was giving me troubles, so I went and downloaded the VOD. All that I do for you, and you guys can't even like the video, and I mean, if you really want to go crazy, then go join my Metafy group and support the channel. In any case, first augment here. A few interesting options. This one, I forget the name of it because obviously we don't have them in English here, but I think a lot of people are just not very interested in this one. Portable Forge, or no, this is Latent Forge, right? You know, not amazing. And this is this called, like, this isn't called What Doesn't Kill You. That's a different augment, but it's the one where every time a unit size counts up to a number. This is 15, and then when you get there, you get a component. I think this one is generically the best one of these three. Based on, you know, what I've seen from other players, they seem to really like those. Roll into Kingslayer and Blade Dance, both, yeah, not great options. So I do think, I mean, we do have the one Irelia and maybe some Blade Dance items, but yeah, that would be quite a stretch. Also, this incentivizes a lot to level up because we want to get more units in. And ooh, this is an interesting idea. Wow, the Gargoyle Slam out of Riri saying, you know what? I'm just going to play Strongest Board in this spot. It's kind of interesting to play Strongest with this. I always tend to think of this augment as like a loss streak augment, right? The more of your units that die, the better, obviously. So I'm a little bit surprised about this, the full Gargoyle Slam. But I guess Riri just really interested in making that item, saying, you know what, I'm probably going to play around it this game. And I wonder how early it is that Riri starts thinking about this game as kind of like a sorcerer's angle, because that is the angle that Riri opts to take this game. I think it's a line that's gotten a lot better with all the buffs to sorcerers this patch. Sorcerer +1 looks quite good when I've seen it perform, but I've also heard a lot of people say even Sorcerer +1, that's just a check for hitting LeBlanc. If you don't hit LeBlanc, you're kind of doomed. And then Sorcerers without +1 is just horrible, is what I've heard from some people. So I'm curious to see Riri just kind of pivot this line this game, just because, yeah, it's a controversial line, I would say. The only other thing I guess I would point out about the Gargoyle Slam here is that it does have Oh, there. I didn't mute the bot. Riri was just being very quiet the last few rounds. But the only other thing to point out is that Gargoyle tends to have fantastic synergy with Lux in the early game. Obviously, shielding onto a unit with a ton of armor and MR is really, really good. You can do exactly what Riri's doing here. Solo frontline a unit with Gargoyle. Lux will shield them up, and you'll get a lot of value out of it. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I guess Riri's thinking about this first augment in just an idea of like, okay, I'm just gonna play strongest board, save some HP. If I lose some fights, I'll lose some fights. If my units die, they die. And if they don't, all good. Eventually, I'll get value out of it. I'm just surprised because like a fight like this, slamming the gargoyle, I mean, probably did make us win that fight. Okay, bow open at this point. You can look at stuff like Nashers is really, really good. A tier would also be really, really nice. I mean, 3-cost Nashers is not a bad option there, but looks like Riri just wants to pick up the tier here. This can be Shiv or this can be just saved for a mana item. So we'll see what Riri wants to do here. We do have the 4 Sork on level up, and it is going to be the Shiv Slam. So yeah, Riri just playing really, really aggressively and likes the Shiv Slam here over something like a Nasher is kind of interesting. And yeah, the second we actually get a better frontliner, going to move the Gargoyle over to Darius. This is something that we saw when we did that VOD review of, it was Frodan, yeah, playing the Zyra, Lux, and Darius reroll comp. He would also solo frontline his Darius. I think he might have had a Gargoyle in that game as well, which, once again, I feel like the main reasoning behind this Gargoyle Slam is just the inherent synergy with playing Lux in the early game. You can do similar stuff later with like Swain and solo frontline him with Gargoyles. A little bit scarier the further that you get into the lobby, but there's a lot of units. Darius and Swain both have that kind of like AoE. So you actually really, really like positioning wise for the enemy team to clump around, especially like this Darius getting that big whoosh on the entire board. And yeah, looks like it's going to be a decent win streak for Riri. Yeah, the only piece of this that is still quite strange to me is the way that we're playing around this first augment, because in so many of these fights with the Gargoyle, our units aren't actually dying at all, which seems quite odd. I wonder, I feel like I would have played this more from like a loss streak perspective, but I guess the upside for Riri is that, he still gets to win a bunch of fights. So we pick up the Swain finally, maybe not even finally, it's only 2-7. We pick up the Swain immediately, which is very, very nice to get on this forward. Fits in Conqueror, which is going to allow us to potentially farm some of those Conqueror stacks throughout the rest of the next few rounds. Going to hold on to the GP here, who fits in nicely. And we actually are at an interesting crossroads here. We have the Morello Slam if we want to make it to get that heal cut out of the way. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. Make Morello and you keep tier open for a mana item. But then that does get rid of our Reld, which, is a very, very high priority component in this comp. So we'll see what Riri ends up making in this spot. I do think Morello onto the onto the Nami looks really good just because she goes pew, 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 hits 3 units with her ult, so that's spreading Morello to 3 units. So I think a pretty easy slam there from Riri. Also interesting to note that he opts not to play the Swain on these rounds because he doesn't actually have a unit that he wants to cut for. Like if you end up putting it in over one of these 2-star Sorks, then it doesn't feel very good. And also, the sell there, I think that actually makes a lot of sense, and I'll talk about this after we look at this first augment, or the second augment here. I mean, late game specialist is kind of a joke of an augment these days. Item grab bag seems not great. I mean, worst case, we could live with a placebo take here. This one's kind of interesting. This one's corrosion, right? The one that gives minus armor and MR. I don't think it's very good in this position because this comp tends to be pretty quickly. Oh, this is an interesting one. It's called Backup, I believe, where if you have 4 more units in the background, they all get attack speed. That actually seems really good here with the Gargoyle value, I would think. But okay, it's actually just gonna be placebo. All right. I mean, placebo, an okay option. And I think Riri just saying, you know what? I've got the components here. Eventually, I'll get the components from my first augment. And so what scales with components is, hitting 2-starred units and just having a good board in general. So let's take Econ to go with that. So seems pretty reasonable. I don't know. I did kind of like that other option just because you can get a ton of attack speed onto these sorcerer units and feel pretty good about it. But okay, we will continue to chill here. I wonder when we will farm our first component off of this augment, because it's got to be relatively close. There's the Elise, which is a great pickup onto this board. I wonder if this is going to come in on this board over something like a Zyra here, or if Riri just says, 4 Sork Zyra is too good to cut. Because obviously you can get in Form Swapper here, and you can get in just Elise as a great unit. But yeah, I think Riri makes the call, and I think this is correct, that a 4 Sork Zyra is going to do way more than just an Elise 1 on this board. Even with Form Swapper, it's not like we're main tanking Swain at this point, so who really cares? And we can also just level up the round after this. this. So you can see the power of an early game, just 4 Sork win streaking. I think this is the win condition that a lot of people talk about with this comp, is just really, really high tempo sorcerers. Tier open in this spot, looking like, in my opinion, it would be just a Shojin or an Adaptive Helm that we could pick up here, but we'll see what Riri wants in this spot. I mean, I think Adaptive Helm is completely serviceable, so I do think that's going to be the pickup for Riri, and we'd be happy with that. Can level up here, put the Elise in, feel very good. We can even make 50 gold, disgusting, from this spot. We also get our Powder Wind-Up Monkey, which is Radiantize here. What are we going to Radiantize? I think Shiv has actually insane stats, I believe. Yeah, we can do, why not do a quick, oh, actually, I was going to pull up, my browser, but I'm not in my browser, I'm in this. But yeah, if you go to Radiant Items and sort by average placement, yes, statistics favor here. 3.91, one of the best, and more Morello's is actually really, really good as well, so that's another option that you can go with. I don't think there's any kind of confounding stats here, but if there is, let me know, because I know some people will be like, oh, well, you get Radiant Statics when you play around Demacia, so obviously the stats on that are better or worse or something, but I don't think there's anything in this set that actually makes those stats, that confound those stats. I think that's a good word of the day to use here. In any case, yeah, Riri in a great spot here. Wait, actually, this is really good because he just scouted CantWithoutYou. Let's take a peek at CantWithoutYou's board here as well. So CantWithoutYou also went streaking really hard, also took a Radiant Static Shiv in a pretty interesting spot as well. What a weird board, actually. Gwinsu, Archangels, Radiant Statics on a TF here, on a TF1, win streaking with support mining. Like, he's playing into Enforcers right now, but Enforcers via TF, which is a pretty uncommon angle. I would say a lot of people, when they're playing around Enforcers, have a bunch of items slammed to go into the Vi later. He's got the Stair Axe, but most people have a triple item onto like Camille at something at this point, or items on Maddie is the other really common way to play into that comp. And CantWithoutYou doing neither and playing around the TF, and I mean, it looks like he's cleaning up really, really nicely with the TF there, so pretty interesting. But yeah, this fight actually really close. We are at the last moment going to lose our streak, which is so tragic. Keeping the streak there would have been nice, and CantWithoutYou gets to keep streak. The only saving grace is we do get to pick up a nice little component there from our augment, so not bad here. Does this proc on minions? Can you sack units here and just put in 1-stars? I wonder. I don't actually recall if this works on minions or not, but if it does work on minions, then we probably could have sacked another unit here in this spot. All right, the level 8, really quick level 8. We pick up the Swain too. We pick up Zoe here for 6 Sork. And yeah, I wonder if this is... The biggest thing we have left here is Nami 2 to find. If we can find Nami 2, we are beyond stable. I mean, you can just make triple item here, right? Yep, Redemption, Bramble, I think this is beautiful. Now we have triple tank item, triple damage item here. I think this is exactly what the doctor ordered in this spot, so I think you'd be very happy with this. And the biggest question for me at this point is Riri going to continue to roll here? He's got 2-star frontline, got a ton of other 2-star units. Let's see what Augment is here, because I think this impacts things a lot. The Rods one is kind of interesting. We don't really have anything else to slam with Rod, and just double death cap on, a random Zoe one seems a little bit meh. Greater Moonlight's funny, but we have 2 1-costs that we're playing right now. If we only had one cost, I would actually kind of consider this and just, 4-star Lux and throw these items onto her. I think that would be good. But we can't actually cut one of them and still play 6 Sork until we find LeBlanc, so I don't really like that idea. Radiant Pandora's doesn't look very good. I mean, I guess worst case, you can just take Bulky Buddies, which is good enough. Another Radiant item is interesting, though. Tends to be if you're taking multiple Radiant items, you want Radiant items to kind of scale with each other. There's nothing that really scales with Static Shiv. I guess attack speed, but are we going to go something like Radiant Gwinsu's? I guess you can just take Bulky Buddies here. Seems decent enough. Riri kind of in the tank thinking about this, but I don't think there's actually another option. And yeah, Riri going to continue to roll here until Nami 2. I have to imagine this is the stopping point. Nami 2 here. Also, bulkify your buddies. Okay, nice. That was pretty scary there for a second. Also, holding on to these other options for a second here. I have to imagine these are going to get sold to make 20 gold here. Yep, in this spot here, but just something to keep as a possibility in there. Let's see how this Nami, I mean, this Nami's doing work here, right? 10,000 damage from the Nami, and only a little bit of that from the Radiant Statics. Also note that we are playing Rumble on this board. This is just kind of our +2 here, and Riri still, once again in the tank here saying, do I want to? And yeah, he's going to take a Rumble upgrade in this spot. Okay, so I mean, this is our board. Other stuff that you can fit onto this board, you can fit stuff like Watchers, you can fit Black Rose, you can fit I mean, I guess Bruisers if you really want to, but he's actually just choosing to fit the Rumble onto this board and saying, I'm going to play around Rumble later. Oh, that's one more fight that we do get to see against Can't Without You. Ooh, Can't Without You. So Can't Without You went fast level 8 and rolled it really, really deep, 0 gold here, right? To pick up the to pick up the Vi 2 and just to get into this is probably 6 Enforcer, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that a Caitlyn back there actually? Yeah, it is. So yeah, 6 Enforcer right now with the Vi 2. So a cool. It's actually, this is really interesting. So these are the two kind of very, very bigly buffed verticals this patch. 6 Orc and 6 Enforcer. Can't Without You playing one and then Riri playing the other, I think is really, really interesting here. So yeah, I mean, this is the spot. Riri having the idea of obviously bringing LeBlanc in down the line, maybe get Rel in. I mean, seems very mediocre, but not terrible. I'm gonna pick up the sword here for probably a Shojin down the line so that we can duo carry some units maybe, but I mean this seems fine for now. And I think this is the thing. Actually, we picked up a sword. Okay, so yeah, I actually wonder if this is the slam. We got sword from our first augment here. Yeah, I mean, it's actually tough. Just GS standalone as an item, kind of ass, I would say. But you don't want to remove the Radiant Static Shiv. You're obviously, like, none of these items you can really remove off the Nami, so I think this is kind of how you have to go here. Also, wow, another one fight from the Nami. That's a beautiful fight here. Oh, we're going to go into Anomaly, so I am going to have to translate this. Unless it's this one. This is when you kill a unit, gain 20 mana. Okay. I'm not going to be able to evaluate these. This is the chill one, I'm pretty sure. This is... It has a 2 in it. That's all I can see here, actually. Oh, this is the one that gives 2 items, probably. Oh, just call me fluent. Just call me fluent in every language. I mean, this is actually a really, really good pickup from Riri. This is an Anomaly that throughout the entire set has consistently overperformed in spots where it's made sense. I think so. Well, when I first saw this Anomaly, I thought, why would you ever take this Anomaly? It gives you 2 items. Those like an Anomaly can be a 4th item on a unit, which scales with everything else. It seems so good, but this is actually a beautiful spot for it. I think this makes so much sense from Riri's spot here. Get 2 more items for Zoe. Boom, now we have 3 items Zoe. We were just talking about how awkward that Giant Slayer is with no item components, with no other items. Boom, we actually get like perfect. We get Nashers and Adaptive Helm. I mean, I think best case scenario would be Nasher Shojin because, like the attack speed, I think is like a little bit better with something like Shojin that's actually giving you mana on attack, whereas Adaptive Helm is giving you mana over time. So like the attack speed doesn't really scale that up in the same way, but I don't think you can be too upset. At the end of the day, it's a mana item and an adaptive a Nashers. So yeah, another item onto Rumble here who I don't know what the future of this Rumble actually is. I mean, I guess it's meant to stay on our board, but I don't really think like are you going to itemize Rumble here? No, yeah, I think you do something like this. Yeah, make Adaptive Helm, throw it there. He's going to throw Tear onto the Elise here to just try to get that cast. And we're almost level 9. I think this is the way to play this comp. A lot of people have talked about it, that you don't need Zoe 2. In the VOD that we reviewed, actually, this was very, very similar. You don't need Zoe 2 to be able to push 9. You just hit your 2-star 3-cross, you hit your Swain 2, you hit your Nami 2, and then you use those 2 fast 9. That's how this comp is meant to be played. Also, ooh, this is kind of an interesting idea. Holding on to a few more Namis, maybe a Nami 3 angle? I don't know. But also, not going 9 very, very early here. 60 gold to level here, so it could be a level up from Riri if he wanted to and just tempo it out. But no, he's trying to play for max cap here, so he's going to actually sack a few more fights. We're once again fighting CantWithoutYou here, who is kind of beasting it. Riri and CantWithoutYou just played a very, very solid tempo game, and you can see why someone like CantWithoutYou did so well in this tournament. Also, we get another component here. Is that our last component? I think it might be. It's either our last or I think it is our last component. But you can see why. I mean, both of these players did so well. They just played very, very good tempo, strong board, just around openers that made sense. This is just very, very... And this is also pretty easy to replicate TFT, right? It's not like this was, Riri didn't do like some crazy pivot this game from one combo to another. He played Sorc opener into Sorcerers and, I mean, is having a fantastic go at 48 HP here. CantWithoutYou, same thing. Though CantWithoutYou, I think, played a little bit more of a creative game. Definitely played around some other interesting stuff here. Gwynsu's Rage Blade can be the pickup here. Not sure the idea what this is going to be, unless we want to pair that with Radiant Static Shiv and do something kind of fun there. We'll see. Gonna roll down here. Rumble 2, great pickup here. Looking for any kind of Sentinel to put in here. Pick up Zoe 2 as well, and really just rolling for the LeBlanc at this point would be a really, really big pickup here. So yeah, I think the roll to 0 is completely appropriate in this spot. It's just gonna, the Gwynsu's is just gonna go into the Zyra here, just another item so that we can itemize her. I mean, all of our sorcerers are getting a ton of AP from 6 Orcs, so I think this makes a lot of sense. We fight the CW dummy player who looks like they're playing a pretty gross Silco board with a Blazing Soul there, so pretty solid. And hey, a top 4 locked in for both Riri and CantWithoutYou. Gonna roll down. Finally picks up the Conqueror here. There's the LeBlanc as well, who's a fantastic in on this board. Also, remember, I've talked about this before, but you do not need to put Scion away from a little buddies clump. And ooh, look at this item swap. So the second we get LeBlanc here, move the items over to LeBlanc. I think this makes perfect sense. Basically triple mana gen onto LeBlanc. LeBlanc really is, I think, one of those units where you're really trying to get her to cast, right? If you can get LeBlanc to cast, that's the most important thing, getting that damage share. And then Zoe's going to be our main carry here. I mean, yeah, really, really nicely played actually from Riri to move the items over at this point. And then the Morello stays onto the Nami. This is beautiful because, Morello, very good item here. And then the Hodge ends up going onto to Rumble as well. I mean, it works perfectly. There's the LeBlanc too, which is kind of one of the win cons in this comp. So we'll just see how high we can cap out versus us. Summertimer also hitting a Caitlyn too. I mean, this can be like, how do you actually choose who to itemize here? Because he made the distinct call to itemize. Yeah, so he thinks Rumble 2 with just a few traits and really is better than Nami 2. I mean, it makes sense. 2-star 5 cost. The only downside is obviously that you aren't getting that 6 source. Riri can actually lose a really, really close fight here to Summertimer. So it's a 3-way race here. There's a Mel. Is Mel better than Sentinel on the board? I don't actually think it is. The only unit that I would think about cutting this for is the Victor here. So if we can pick that up, that would be nice. Keep the Rumble same side as our carries. That Vi is a bit scary, but we do have the Scion wasting a decent amount of time for the Vi, though the Vi does look like she is dangerously wrapping here. The Rumble doing a lot of damage, though. I think great call, actually, to play around the Rumble this game. And Summertimer and Riri both losing here to, I mean... Look, I can't say I said it like that. I called that that CantWithoutYou would win this lobby, but CantWithoutYou looks like he is just coasting to a win with a 6 Enforcer setup, which is really, really cool to see. Ooh, look at this positioning, trying to bait the Elise away from corner here. He wants to keep these guys on this side to try to get a lot of value out of this, but look at this. The LeBlanc dodges the Elise ult. Sadly, the Zoe gets ulted as well, but oh my god, it's enough. It's enough to beat Summertimer. Beautiful from Riri, actually. Going into Carousel here, looking for, an item for, I guess, Nami, Vow? Interesting. Maybe we're going to move GS over and then move, or maybe it's just Vow Elise, honestly, just to get her to cast faster. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, CantWithoutYou, crazy board with the Caitlyn 2 there. You can see when we fight him, yeah, Caitlyn 2. He's got an itemized Vi. He's also, yeah, got that TF that he's held the entire game. Going to swap some units over. I don't really like where Elise is because she's just going to be stunning absolutely nothing over here. So this looks pretty bad for us, but maybe we have enough damage. I mean, the LeBlanc doing her best, but yeah, just not enough to win this game. So a 1-2 here from CantWithoutYou and Riri, but a really, really fun game to watch, actually. And we got to, I think, delve in a lot better into how to play around both of these lines, actually. I think the Sorcerer and the Enforcer line very similar in that they stabilize really hard on 8, then go fast 9 and cap out with a 2-star 5 cost. That also makes hitting the 6 trait better. So hope you guys enjoyed this VOD review. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, check out my Twitch, my Metafy, all my other links down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.